Today we're going to demonstrate the Design Hardware 3/16 closer. 3/16 closer will mount three different ways. It'll mount regular arm, it'll mount top jam, and it'll mount parallel. For today's demonstration, we're going to show it on a regular arm mount. On the regular arm mount, the closer body itself will mount on the pull side of the door. Pull side of the door, being the side of the door you pull to you when you go to walk through it. The closer body will mount on the door. As you notice, we've got a lot of holes in this door already. We're using it for several demonstrations. And the top arm will mount on the jamb. So the first thing we want to do is decide how far we want the door to open. This particular closer will open from 100 degrees to 130 degrees, all the way out to 180 degrees. For our demonstration purposes today, we're going to mount it in the 130 degrees range, which is right in the middle. So you want to pick your number, you want to look at what you got here. We're going to mount it on the pull side of the door. Our first dimension is 6 inches over. We want to be from the center of the hinge to that mark. Like I said, we have a lot of marks on this door already. We've already done some things, but we still want to lay it out 6 inches from the hinge to the line. That's our first mark, and then that particular mark is 1 3/16 inches down from the top of the door to the center of the hole. So we want to go ahead and lay that out at 3/16, mark it. Now, I always like to circle my marks when I put them on there. Assuming this door wasn't pre-drilled, you'll get a lot of marks on it by the time you're done. And everything goes back to this original mark. Now you want to lay out your next 4 holes for your closer body. Those are 12 inches apart. So from that first hole, you want to go center to center, 12 inches, you want to mark it. Now that hole is also 1 3/16 down from the top of the door. Mark that, circle it. I'm going to come back over here, we're going to lay out the other holes. They are 3/4 of an inch from center to center. So you want to lay them out, 3/4 of an inch. You want to mark it. Just to double check yourself, you want to be from the hinge to that hole 6 inches. So let's check it, mark it, circle it. Got another hole over here. You will be 12 inches from center to that hole and 3/4 of an inch from this hole to this hole. So we want to lay it all out. Important you get this laid out square. And now we want to lay out where the foot or the arm is going to attach to the door frame. There again, you go back to your first hole, your first mark is your reference point. We want to be 5.5 inches over. Sorry, we're doing 130 degrees. We want to be 5.5 inches from that hole to there. We want to mark and circle. Happens to be that we have a hole there already. Now we want to be 1 3/4 from there. There we go. Mark and circle. Those holes need to be 1 inch up from the bottom of the door frame, not the top of the door. 1 inch, 1 inch. Now we want to open our closer box up. We want to get everything out. In this particular body box, we have the body. We have lots of different things. This is the closer arm itself. We'll refer to this part that slides as the forearm. This is the foot. This is the knuckle. This is the main arm. We have a closer cover. We also have a bracket in here for mounting this parallel arm, which we'll use in some other demonstrations, but not today. We have a screw pack. In the screw pack, there are lots of different screws for lots of different applications. You need to dump it out so you can see what you've got. Got a wrench in there for adjusting it. And today we are going to use the metal screws, the self-drilling, self-tapping screws. They have a small looking drill bit on the end of them. This package also has screws to mount it to a wooden door. Inside the box you'll find a package of through bolts. Sometimes when you're mounting to a wooden door, you'll want to through bolt the body itself to the door. Not today, we're going to deal with the metal. Now that we've got it all laid out, I'm going to take the holes. I always like to punch them first, even though we've got them all marked. And they're pre-drilled on this door, but if you were doing it, I would like to take it and punch each hole in the center with a punch. It helps the self-drilling, self-tapping screws run more true. And then you also want to punch the 2 you're going to use on the top. Now I would take them, and always pre-drill that first hole with a 3/16 inch drill bit. First hole being the very first hole you laid out and the first hole you marked. When you go to put your closer on there, it's just easier if you have that pre-drilled. Now, 3/16 inch bit, we'll just run it through. And you'll see when I go to attach this closer body why that makes it simpler. I'm going to take the closer now. We take the closer body, notice it's got 3 adjustments on it. It's got 1 for latch, 1 for sweep, and 1 for back check. And this closer mounts with the sweep and latch speed adjustment to the hinge side. That would make this hole the very first hole we laid out. I like to just drop the screw in there, make sure we get it in the right spot, line it up, and run it on there. As you can see, having it pre-drilled makes a big difference. Line the closer body itself up, check your marks, make sure you're all good. If your marks are all good and you're all lined up, I like to take that, run the second screw in over here. I like to do it in kind of a catty-cornered pattern, catch the bottom of the other side, and get it in there. You need to step back and look at it. You need to make sure you're going on there fairly straight. If you're too crooked on there, the arm will hit the door when the door comes to open. Everything looks good. Go ahead and run the other screws in. And we're ready to attach the arm. Take the arm. The arm will drop on the closer body. If you look at the arm, it's got several different indexing marks. It's got a flat spot in the arm. There's a flat spot on the closer on the top pinion. You want the flat spot on the arm to drop on the flat spot on the pinion. The main arm should stick out about 90 degrees from the door. Now you can drop that in there on the wrong spot, so you got to be careful. It will drop in at several different locations. Drop it in there wrong. You want to get it in the right spot, 90 degrees out from the door. And the other thing you want to do is just check real quick, take that arm, push it away from the hinges. It should push over. If it doesn't push over, it's because you've got the closer body turned upside down. With just being a universal closer, it will go either hand, and it can be mounted upside down if you're not careful. Now we're going to take the arm off, take the forearm screw, just back that out of there. We're going to take the forearm apart. Take the part with the foot on it. Be sure to save that screw because you'll need it later. Take the foot. On the foot, there's a screw and a pinion. When you go to mount that arm, you want to mount it with the screw down. If the screw comes out, comes loose and falls out, the pinion will still stay in there and hold the arm in place. If you mount it with the screw up, when the screw comes out, the whole closer will fall off. Not good. Okay. Now to mount this arm, I like to just swing the door, get it out of my way. There again, we hold the screw in the hole we want it to mount in, put it on there, run it up tight. Pretty easy when it's all pre-drilled, but with these self-drilling screws, it's not necessarily need to be pre-drilled. Run the other screw in. Now, hold the arm over out of the way, pull the door closed. Now we are ready to put the arm on the closer body. There again, we've already tested it, we made sure it dropped on, we make sure we're good as far as having the body mounted correctly. So we're going to put it on, it'll stick out at 90 degrees. Get that small screw you took out originally to attach the forearm back to the foot. You'll need to open the door a little bit, align these up, and then slide them together as you close the door. Take that screw, restart it in the top of that arm, tighten it down. You don't want to get it too tight right now because you still have to move that arm over to adjust it. What you want, when this is set properly, you want this forearm part of this to be sticking out almost 90 degrees. So you want to push your arm over till you're 90, and you want to take it and you want to tighten that screw up. And you can use a 3/8 wrench or a number 3 tip screw. And there we go. Doesn't take much. Now that's basically the closer installed. So we want to adjust the speeds on it. There's 3 speed adjustments on the closer. The first speed adjustment is what we call the sweep speed. That's when this door will swing from 90 degrees swings closed, it gets about 90% closed, and then it kicks in. You noticed we forgot something. Forgot to put the screw in the top of the arm. That's why it jumped a little funny when we went to close it. Screw goes in the top of the arm. You need to screw that down. There we go. Now we're back to the sweep adjustment. 90 degrees, the door swings closed, about that first 90%, there it hits the latch. The last little bit's what we call the latch speed. That's in here. Generally want it to hit a little harder on the latch to make sure it closes. So we want to start by adjusting that latch speed. That's the valve that's marked with the L. We want to back it out about a quarter of a turn, or turn it counterclockwise. That'll make it open the valve up and make the door close just a little bit harder on that last little bit. Then we want to do the sweep and adjust the sweep. Now the sweep is from 90 degrees open to when the door is all the way closed. You should be able to count to 15. Once you got that set right, you want to go to the back check, which is this valve here. The back check is the part where when you push the door open, if let's say you're walking out of the door and it's an exterior door and the wind catches it, wants to blow it away from you, the back check will stop it from taking off. As you can see, that door stops. If you fling it like that, it'll stop on its own right about at 90. Start slowing down. If you want to adjust the back check, which is on the bottom of the closer, you want to turn it about a quarter of a turn at a time clockwise, tightening it up. Each time you turn it, it'll get a little stiffer. You want to get the door to catch itself. Depending on the application, you can stop it from hitting a wall. You can stop the wind from taking it away from you. Once you've got that set, adjusting the back check will not affect the sweep speed or the latch speed. Now the door's swinging right, closing right, but let's say you've got a panic on that door, maybe a kick plate, a lot of little extra weather stripping, some things, and it's just not quite latching when it comes closed. That's where you want to adjust the power setting. The power setting is on the end of the closer, and it's just a spring adjustment. So you want to adjust the power setting with the door closed. You want to turn that spring in almost one full turn each adjustment. So with this wrench, you got to basically turn it 2 half turns, tighten it up. All that does, it doesn't make the door sweep any faster, or it doesn't make the latch speed any faster, but it just makes it harder. If you got that weather stripping and all that stuff on there, it'll just make it snap a little bit more. Once you've got it all set and done, it's time to put the cover on it. The 3/16 closer comes with a cover. The cover is adjustable for either hand, so you can put it on either way. You want to look at how you need it. Make sure you got it in there. Take the removable slot, slide it in place. Now this cover goes on with a screw on each side. I always like to take those screws. They're the very smallest ones in your screw pack naturally. I like to put them on by hand so you don't strip them out. Because you can also get them too tight and you'll crack the end of the closer cover. So just take the hand screwdriver, take the screw, set it in there, tighten it up. There again, don't draw it too much even with a hand screwdriver. You don't want to pull it all the way through the case. The other small screw, one goes in on the other side. Once you've got the closer cover on, you're basically done. You want to go one more time though. I always like to just test it. I like to pull the door open to 90 degrees and then let it go and watch it. Make sure nothing rubs, make sure your cover's not in the way. Kind of run that 15 through your head, make sure you're not too fast, and listen for it to slam and close. All works, you're done.